Half a day you're watching Coffee with the Candidates. I'm Destiny Cruz from the Pacific News Center, and today we are joined by Sarah Thomas Nededog, who is a senatorial candidate. So first and foremost, how are you doing today?
Just wonderful, and I'm so happy to be here. Half a day in Buenos to our listening audience.
Thank you. We're happy to have you here. And just getting right into it. For those who may not be familiar with you, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself, and most importantly, what influenced you to pursue public service?
Wonderful. Well, I was born and raised on Guam. I went to school here, went to public school. I went to private school as well, Santa Barbara, and I went to the University of Guam. I am from the village of Nededog, although I was born in Tamuning, and my husband is from Hagat, and we have 4 children, and we have 6 grandchildren now. And my education has been primarily in social services, psychology, sociology, social work, and I've taught at the university at Guam Community College, and I've basically spent my career spanning over 4 decades helping in various capacities in our community with different populations. So it's been an exciting life's journey so far, and I'm happy to take the next step to be at the Guam legislature as a policymaker now.
And speaking about that, why do you want to run for senator?
I thought that this is really my next step in the work that I've done. I've worked in community services. I've worked with various populations. And I also worked at the Guam legislature as a policy advisor for Senator Herminia Durking and Vice Speaker B.J. Cruz at the time. So I've had some exposure in policy, as well as I taught policy at the University of Guam. So I have a real interest in taking a look at rules and regs and policies and mandates and things that have a profound impact on our people. And I thought that this would be a great time for me to make a contribution to our island as a policymaker. So it was just, to me, good timing and the best next step for me in my life.
And speaking about that, what main concerns are you interested in addressing if elected? And what initiatives, legislative initiatives, do you plan to introduce to address those issues?
My concern has always been the most vulnerable persons in our community, which are our youth, our senior citizens, our elderly, our Manemko, our veterans, our persons with disabilities. Those populations have always been of concern to me, and I will continue to be a staunch advocate for those groups and to take a look at how we can work on our socioeconomic development plans on island and ensure that those people who really need a hand up, those folks, those populations that need the attention so that they can really live a safe, healthy, and productive life. So I will continue to focus on them, and I'm looking forward to legislation that would work towards that end. And in my first 30 days, I want to introduce the Poverty Prevention and Homelessness Act that would bring all the different entities, nonprofits and governmental entities together to focus on a plan to do just that.
And speaking about where we are right now in the world, we are still going through an ongoing pandemic. So how do you plan to help Guam recover from the negative impacts of the pandemic?
I think that's a really great question, and it's because of the pandemic, I think, that has really motivated me even more so to seek public office. I've worked with folks, our people from Guam, from the various islands, who are struggling and who have been struggling the last couple of years. And as we know, there was a mass exodus of folks to the streets, of which I got to know many of them very well and know what their struggles are. So that really would be where I would want to focus my attention, is on what is it that we need to do to help take people to a higher level in their lives and to move them forward. I think the reunification of families is critical. Many of our families have been divided, and I think during the pandemic, we became keenly aware of what we need to do to help support our families. We saw a lot of families come together, but we also saw a lot of families break up. And we saw our communities united, and we saw our communities divided. So bringing our families, bringing our communities together to be more in unison with a common focus. And I think the theme is going to remain: how can we stay healthy? How can we stay safe? And how can we move forward in our lives individually, as families, and as communities?
And speaking of the community, if elected, how would you maintain transparency and accessibility between yourself and the people of Guam?
That's like really exciting for me, because I am such a networker, and I pride myself in the work I've done in bringing people together, bringing organizations together, and I will continue to do so. And I want to have sessions and opportunities where people can come from the private sector, the nonprofit sector, our village mayors who are on the ground, who are working with our people every day, the people in our communities, and the government agencies, as well as the nonprofits, our homeless coalition, folks that I call them subject matter experts, because they really know our grassroots. And maintaining those ties and meeting with them on a regular basis is really crucial in good policy. I don't think that we can move forward unless we, have our ear to them. So again, I'm very excited about. I mean, that's like one of the first things that I will want to do, is call the mayors in, call our social workers in, call our nonprofits and our governmental entities in the field together and say, let's do this. What are our priorities moving forward? And let's hold hands and get past any divisiveness that may exist, because we need to be focused on being, one Guam and one region. So I'm also looking forward to collaborating with the CNMI, with the FSM, with the RMI, all of our islands in Micronesia to come together. I have had great liaison with them over the years, and I want to nurture that and make sure, because we can't do it alone. It's not just about Guam, it's about our whole region.
And speaking about that, why is that so important to you, to be connected with our neighboring islands?
With our what?
With our neighboring islands.
Oh, absolutely. Because as I said, we're not alone. And we have people on Guam that are from all over our region, all over our world, in Asia and the Pacific. But they are our neighbors, they are our taxpayers, they are our friends and our family, and they must be included too. And again, I think that the nonprofit leaders throughout Micronesia, as well as the governmental leaders, have had organizations that they have been tied into, and they've worked together. We need to just solidify that and make it even stronger, because it is when we're successful on Guam, then our region is, as well as when they're doing well, we do well. So we've got to look at it more as a family and a regional, use a family and regional approach to our issues, our social issues, our community issues, because there's no way. Their resources, their expertise in Micronesia is incredible. They know things that we should know, and we have things to share with them as well, right? So I think that coming together is going to be valuable as we move forward.
Well, let's add a fun one, right?
Okay.
Okay. So, for those who may not know, I think that a lot of the times it's very serious, which as it should be, but what's a fun fact that people may not know about you?
Oh, geez. I was born and raised on Guam, and my mother is actually from Mindanao, from the Philippines. And my father is a Native American, African American, born in Alabama and raised in Washington, D.C.
That is a fun
And
fact.
they met in the Philippines when he was in the military, and they compromised, I guess, kind of halfway between the States and the Philippines, and came to Guam in 1951 and had 4 children here and raised us. My mom was one of the first Filipina teachers on island in 1951, and my dad was a union person. So both of them were, I think we grew up being advocates for mostly the underdog, or the person that seemed to be the most vulnerable. I think I learned that from my parents, and I feel very blessed and honored to have had them as my parentals.
Well,
Yeah.
shout out to parents, right? All the parents in Guam.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And my last question for you, why should the people of Guam vote for you?
I would say please vote for me, Sarah Thomas Nededog, 21 on the Democrat side, because I have the commitment to you. I have nothing else on my agenda but to work for our people. I have spent many years listening to your challenges, to your troubles, to your dreams, and to your vision. And I would like to take you, your families, our community to the next level. So I hope you'll consider voting for me on the primary on August 27th. And prayerfully, I'll go forward to the general election November 8th.
All right. Well, that wraps up today's interview. So thank you so much, Sarah Thomas Nededog, for coming and joining us today. And we'll see you in the next episode of Coffee with the Cat.